All right. It's live. Cool. That's probably the quickest I've been. Kia ora, g'day, welcome back. Here with a few lives on this wet, cold, ugly, rainy day here in Te Whanganui-a-Tara, Porirua, Wellington, Aotearoa, New Zealand. So got a few links sent to me recently. This one with old chubby cheeks here himself, Shane Jones, a New Zealand minister. And I think he's getting grilled over a trip that he had to Toronto, judging by the heading. Did Shane Jones take a limo to a conference next door to his hotel? So we'll have a listen to this, and then there's some other ones, plus some Q&A stuff, which I'll get into. I will probably reply to those that have sent these through and say, hey, I've just done a live on this stuff today. So then, because they're probably at work and they're probably not able to sit around and watch what it is that I'm yapping on about, to the links that they've been kind enough to send through, and or to the questions that have been sent. So anyway, let's jump into this one. Oh, microphone. I hope I got the microphone on. Oh yeah, that's on. Headphones. Oh, we'll soon see.
Resources Minister Shane Jones and the government are refusing to confirm or deny whether the hotel he stayed in to attend a mining conference in Toronto was in the building right next door to where the conference was held.
Well, that doesn't sound suspect, eh? Are refusing to confirm or deny whether there was access to a conference from his hotel to the actual conference centre. I would assume that it probably does have, because they would want to try to make it as convenient as they can for a minister or somebody travelling to a conference to be able to access.
Stuff revealed last Thursday that Jones had spent $63,000 on the trip to Canada, despite Cabinet only
63 grand on a trip to Canada. Bro, are you relocating to Canada or something? Holy hecka, 63 grand. Is that the whole trip, or is that, must be the whole trip? Surely it's not just the flights. I don't imagine the flights. I mean, I don't know what the flights cost from New Zealand to Toronto and Canada, but 63 grand. How long is he there for? 2, 3, a month? Maybe if you're there for a month, maybe 63 grand. Holy heck.
Proving a spend of $33,000. It included keeping...
Hang on, I missed something there. Was it 63, but the spend was approved for 33, or?
Despite Cabinet only approving that Jones had spent $63,000 on the trip to Canada, despite Cabinet only approving a spend of $33,000. Wow. It included keeping...
So Cabinet approved a spend of 33. Even then, I think that's quite a lot of money, but I don't know how long he's there for. I wouldn't assume he's staying in another country for very long. It's a conference. You go over maybe a day or two early, do the conference, maybe stay an extra day or the overnight, and then come back the next day. So what's that? A couple of days early, a day for the conference, and then the next day fly out, 4 days, or maybe the day after the next fly out. Maybe it's 5, 6 days, maybe a week maximum. Far out. 63 grand for what I'm assuming is about a week.
A private driver on call, but now receipts appear to show he may not have needed it because his hotel had an indoor route directly to the event.
What do you need a private driver on standby for anyway? Why can't you just get an Uber like anybody else? Why can't you just get a taxi? Why can't you just speak with the hotel and say, hey, could you book me a taxi or order me a taxi to pick me up at whatever time from your hotel room if you need to go somewhere? Like, why does anyone have to have unless you're the blinking prime minister or a president of a country, why does a minister need to have a private driver on standby? Seriously, like, that's a legit question from me. That doesn't make any sense.
Political editor Jenna Lynch has this story.
A chilly Toronto day in May. That's why Shane Jones said he needed a private driver on standby.
So this SUV, which seated 5 people, which was used to move me around Toronto in a blizzard, as I recall.
But 3 News...
And what? That doesn't make any sense. Again, why can't you just order an Uber when you need a ride, bruz? Crazy. Bloody chubby chicken here, rorting the system, it seems like. having a good old giraffe at the system and blinking, milking it for all it's got, milking the taxpayers for all they got.
Had questions like where was he actually going and where was he staying?
What hotel did you stay at in Toronto?
Oh, I cannot remember the name of the hotel.
Because, well,
Oh, I cannot remember the name of the hotel with his eyes closed, with his eyes wide closed. That's this pickup master, 140, 2 times 3, get the 7 hours, charge $125 an hour, $875. Bro, what the hell is going on with the spend that the New Zealand, was it cabinet or government, is allowing ministers to blinking pull the piss out of on a trip to Toronto? Looking at that $875, 7 hours, hourly charge, $125 an hour. What have you got a driver on standby on call for? Isn't that what an Uber is for? Isn't that what a taxi is for? Like, they're on call, bros, so that if you need a ride to get picked up from point A and taken to point B, you ring them or you use the app and you order one, and then you go out and you meet them at the time, you jump in, and then you get taken to your area. They're on call. Crazy, man. But it'll likely continue to happen.
we looked at the receipts for the limo he hired, and while they didn't show which hotel he stayed in, they had a postcode. And in Canada, places like major hotels at
What was that?
hotel he stayed in, they had a postcode. And in Canada, places like
Looks like Intercontinental Toronto. I don't know what the other parts are. Point something for, or something for Intercontinental Toronto.
major hotels are allocated their own postcode. The one on the receipts appeared to show he was dropped off and picked up from the Intercontinental, which incidentally is next door to the conference he was attending in the Metro Toronto Convention Centre.
Wow, right next door. It's, yeah, well, sounds like they're asking if there was an internal access. Maybe there wasn't an internal access, I don't know, but far out, crazy, man. It's like right next door. So even if you do need to catch a ride, you don't need, well, this is just me, I've never been a minister, but I don't think you need a vehicle on call at $125 an hour while you're probably largely sitting in your room stuffing those cheeks with more pies and blinking room service and takeaway food, I would imagine.
The 3-minute walk.
Was it connected to the conference centre?
May very well have been.
Look at this guy, may very well have been. I can't remember. Holy heck. Shane Jones, Resources Minister. What a crock.
Was it?
Oh, look, I really can't recall. I can't.
The website for the convention centre notes there is indoor access to the Intercontinental Toronto Centre.
Was your hotel connected to the conference centre?
Look, I'd need to double check.
You don't need a double check, chubby cheeks. You just need to tell the truth, bro. Far out. But hard, eh? I suppose when you get caught out and you're thinking none of this stuff is ever going to come out, nobody's going to see these receipts or what the spend has been used for, or how much it's cost. Approved for 33 grand, spent 63 grand. Holy heck, bro, you're having a giraffe here, bloody. What were you over there for? What sort of convention was it? A bloody pie eating competition?
Surely you remember that.
Okay, what's your next question?
We asked the Minister's office a week ago for
Should have asked him what did he have to eat. He would have remembered that, I reckon.
confirmation of where Jones stayed, and then again yesterday, and they didn't respond. So we went to the Prime Minister's office, who signed off on the extra spend. They sent us to Ministerial Services at the Department of...
So the Prime Minister signed off on the extra spend. 33,000, come back. Oops, sorry. I spent 63 grand instead. Oh, no worries, cuz we'll sign that off. Holy heck.
Internal Affairs, who told us they wouldn't be confirming which hotel Jones stayed at over a year ago for security reasons.
It's kind of important because if you go to look...
For security reasons, we don't want to confirm which hotel Shane Jones... So this is, how old? Over a year ago. Etta, why is this coming on my feed? Why are you sending it through now? I'm guessing it must be because it's come through recently. But if it's over a year ago, I don't understand what the security risk is for it. I doubt there's anybody out there looking to try to capture and or do something bad to pie eating competitors like Shane Jones. I don't know what he is over there in Toronto for. I could be way off the mark, but holy heck, man. 63 grand for a trip over there you can't recall. I wonder how much, so that's a vehicle. They keep calling it a limo. He says it's an SUV or whatever. Again, I don't see the point of having your own private vehicle on call and paying all that extra money for no apparent reason. Like, just book an Uber or a taxi as and when you need one. They're on call. That's what they're there for. Wonder how much the hotel costs. Wonder how much the flights cost. Like, they just seem to be focusing in on. Maybe they're going to talk about it, but they seem to be focusing in on the hotel and the connection from the hotel to the convention center. And I think the media keeps calling it a limo, but he's saying it's a SUV.
Limo to wait on standby in your
talking about
hotel.
No, you're talking about a four-wheel drive SUV, and a host of the places that I went to were not located at either the hotel.
Okay, a host of other places that he went to. What were the host of other places that he went to?
Or where the conference was situated.
How many meetings did you have outside the hotel?
Oh, a number of them were quickly organised.
He dropped himself in it there, when he said that he had a number of other meetings, and then she says, how many other meetings? A number of them were quickly organised. I had to dash down and try the local McDonald's down the road. I was looking for a KFC, but I couldn't find one, so I had to settle for Pizza Hut. I then discovered that they had a bakery, and they had some pretty nice pies, I think would rival New Zealand pies. I'm pulling the piss here, but bloody hell, man. This is crazy. Now you can't remember. So you can't remember the hotel you stayed at. Can't remember how many meetings you had because they were quickly organised. But what is it? But you remember the details of the SUV, how many people it could carry, and it was taking you to and from other locations which were not in the vicinity of the hotel. But you can't remember how many there were or what those meetings were about. So I just provided them for you. McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and a bakery.
Because they were meetings of investors, which fortunately, as a consequence...
Did he say meetings of ingestings or investings? Or investors? Ingestors or investors? Ingesting kai? Ingestors of kai food or investors?
So by advocacy, $200 million came to New Zealand.
Jones's hotel bill came...
Was that
quickly organised because they were meetings of investors, which fortunately, as a consequence of my advocacy, $200 million came to New Zealand.
Jones's hotel...
Well, I mean, if that's the case, awesome. But so are you saying there, old chubby cheeks, that you justify the $63,000 spend of New Zealand taxpayers' money because your advocacy has brought in $200 million worth of investment? Does that money get disseminated to the taxpayers who funded your trip to go bring that in? Or does that just get repurposed for more government funding for more $63,000 trips? It's crazy.
Bill came in at $13,000 to two people for 4 nights, making over $1,600 a night for each room.
What the truck? Hang on. What was that?
By advocacy, $200 million came to New Zealand.
Jones's hotel bill came in at $13,000 to two people for 4 nights, making over $1,600 a night for each room.
How?
$13,000 for two people for 4 nights. So I was close. Well, no, I was 3 days off. I said about a week. $13,000 for two people for 4 nights. $1,600 a night. Holy heck, $1,600 a night? Are you kidding me? How does that get approved for a minister or anybody to go and stay, unless they're paying for it themselves? If they're paying for it themselves, no problem, right? But if this is taxpayer funded trips for people like this bloody pie eating ball bag, like how does that? Yeah, I don't understand how that works.
Does it cost $1,600 a night for a hotel room?
Well, look, you'd have to talk to people who organise that, the TripAdvisor.
Is that reasonable?
Talk to the TripAdvisor. How's that for a handball, eh? There you go, TripAdvisor people. You've been thrown under the bus. Hopefully the media go talk to them. Who's organising and approving a $1,600 a night accommodation stay for a minister or anybody? I know that there are in companies that I've been lucky enough to work in, and whereby the company has allocation to pay for our travel when I've needed to travel to places. Never stayed in a $1,600 a night room. But I also know that they have typically different levels. Like, the higher up you are, there was, from what I could see, a higher allocation of funding for them to travel and stay and or use. But this seems like you're just taking the piss. $1,600 a night for a hotel room, 13 grand for 2 people for 4 nights. That is just trucking ridiculous, man.
Well, the reality is this is a very highly sought after event.
A highly sought after event with a highly priced hotel room to boot.
I was going to say, what has that got to do with the question? The question was something along the lines of, do you think that's a reasonable amount or something like that in terms of paying $1,600 a night? And his response is, well, the reality is it's a highly sought after event. Well, the event might be highly sought after, and maybe the event costs $1,600 per head to go into the event, but your accommodation doesn't need to be $1,600 a night and total $13,000 for 4 days. That's just, that's just the little Maori boy from Gizzy talking there. So I don't know how that justifies the highly sought after event cost. Yeah, highly sought after event costs whatever it costs. I don't know. But your hotel room, that's something within your control. Having a vehicle on standby, a driver on standby at $125 an hour, whereby there's probably going to be over 4 days. I would imagine there's probably at least 30, 48, dare I say 72 hours worth of not using the driver or the vehicle at all. And that's still being conservative, I think. 72, it's probably 3 days of not using the vehicle at all, total time I'm talking about. But you're paying that driver for the on-call time that whole time. It's seems weird to me, bro.
Have you ever spent $1,600 on a hotel room for yourself?
Ooh, what a great question. Have you? She was asking me. No. Have you ever spent $1,600 on a hotel room for yourself? That's a great question. Maybe he has. Taking a long time to come up with an answer, so maybe he's going to say on occasion or something.
Unlikely.
So then why should the taxpayer?
Well, the reality.
Hang on. It didn't sound like he said on occasion.
Unlikely.
So then why should the taxpayer?
Well,
another great follow-up question. Have you ever spent $1,600 on a hotel room? Takes a long time. Says unlikely. Then she follows up, so why should the taxpayer? And he's about to give his answer. What a great follow-up question. 2 great questions. Why should the taxpayer? Good question. What's the answer?
Reality once again.
The answer is Sunday. So what might the question be? This fella's going to give an answer, I bet, without even answering the question.
Unlikely.
So then why should the taxpayer?
Well, the reality once again is that I represented the government at an event where there were 30,000 people, where there had not been.
What has that got to do with it? You represented the country at an event where there's 30,000 people, and get to the answer. Why should the taxpayers have to pay for you to stay in a $1,600 a night hotel? So far I've heard, well, because I went to an event and represented the country where there were 30,000 people. And I know I cut him off, but it doesn't sound good when you're starting off with all that sort of rubbish, which has got nothing to do with the question, in my opinion.
Government at an event where there were 30,000 people, where there had not been a New Zealand minister for quite some time, and as a consequence of Shane Jones spending some time there, a $200 million investment came to New Zealand.
1,600.
Well, not shy in calling himself out and And as a consequence of Shane Jones, $200 million came to New Zealand. I mean, that's probably worthwhile, I would say, media following up and giving kudos to. Like, if that's what he's done, maybe add that to your story as well. News, or was it Stuff News, or whatever it is, this media here. Like, all well and good calling out the $63,000 trip and the $13,000 hotel for 2 people, $1,600 a night, the vehicle, etc. All well and good calling out that. I still don't think that should that sort of trip warrants that level of spend. But hey, but also I think it would be good if he has secured $200 million worth of investment into New Zealand. Like, I reckon that's worth calling out, just to, even though I was hassling old chubby cheeks here, blinking, going over there and just stuffing his face with all the pies and whatever he could find over there. The fact that I shouldn't say fact, I don't know, but if he's saying that that's what he's brought into the country as a result of his advocacy and his meetings with these investors, then, I think that's worth sharing for the country to understand. What does that $200 million investment mean? So I gobbed off earlier about how does that help the taxpayers that have funded his trip. If that means that investment is going to create jobs or whatever for people in New Zealand, awesome. Then that's, I'd like to think that media would think that's a worthwhile piece to share as well. So regardless of whatever I might say about old Porky Cheeks here, if it's bringing in some good stuff, great, but I still don't think it justifies a $63,000 spend for what sounds like him and one other. So it's for 2 people for 4 nights, that $13,000. I still don't think bringing in that level of investment warrants a $63,000 spend. If you want to spend $63,000 of your own money on a trip like that, go for it. But using taxpayers' money to fund that sort of level of trip, I think that's a bit rich.
$100 a night, but apparently not all that memorable to Mr. Jones.
When you're away from the spotlight, you have time to think about what really matters.
Oh, rubbish. Not very memorable, eh? Let's go there. Stop sharing. That's the first one, because I've got these bloody other ones that need to get into. That's the next one. The Carl Stefanovic piece. We'll come to that. Oh, holy heck. Sorry. I didn't think anybody was on here, so I was just happy yapping away to myself. Good morning, Vanilla Butcher. Afternoon now by the time I've seen it. Sorry. Yeah, there are a few light floods around central Porirua. Yeah, bloody looks miserable. Training was freezing cold this morning, getting out there this morning. It was just a walk this morning, but a brisk walk, and it's getting bloody blown around. What do we got? DMC 7756 from Palmerston North. Cheers. Vanilla Butcher, that's first class, at least for the flights. Yeah, I reckon, eh? Including jet lag. I feel an Uber will be cheaper anyway. Yeah, he might as well just say he can't remember the whole trip. Sorry, I just seen your comments now. Got to try some poutine while he was there. I don't know what that is. Is that must be a type of food, eh? Nicholas Miles, howdy, brother. I try not to judge people on looks, but you can see he is an untrustworthy man. I'm with you, bro. That's why I was bloody calling him chubby cheeks and all sorts of stuff, Probably not very kind of me, but yeah, just even the closed eyes answers, the not answering the questions directly. I get fed up with these people. Yep, I'm with you, bro. AWOL Stu, this reminds me Animal Farm with pigs wallowing in the trough. Crack up. Sorry, I just seen the comments. I didn't think there was anybody on here. Anyway, I'm jumping into another reaction video on Carl Stefanovic, this one. That guy been a staple in Australian television media for, I would say, more than 20 years, I reckon. Well, maybe it's 15. No, I reckon it's more than 20 years. And what's happened with him after the Tommy Robinson interview that he did in the UK, man, that's just I'm so glad Tommy Robinson is no longer like a. When I saw that, I haven't seen all of Kyle's interview with him. I've seen parts of it. But when I saw that and heard the bits that I heard, I just went straight over to Tommy Robinson's channel, subscribed straight away. I was already subscribed to Kyle Stefanovic, so that's why I get some of his stuff pop up on my channel. I just like the way that he does a lot of his stuff. I think he's funny on the morning show stuff that he was doing with a lot of stuff, especially when come time Origin and other things. He just seems to have a good sense of humor. But also some of the interviews. Oh, bloody hell, got to turn that off. That's the, that's the bloody, it's breaking through some areas of interest for me in terms of the trading. So I'll turn that off because I'm not worrying about that. I can do trade later on. It's not right where I want it to be, but it is poked its head through an area of interest for me. Anyway, where was I? I like what Kyle Stefanovic does. I like his little podcast show, the way that he goes about interviewing people. Obviously, he interviews a variety of people. He's interviewed some veterans. He's interviewed some other political people, celebrities, blah, blah, blah. And Tommy Robinson is one of those guys that I didn't even know anything about, likely because from what I've been discovering, he was cancelled for such a long period of time and just all the corruption and stuff in the UK. We'll get onto Starmer and that as well. Thank goodness that twat is out as well. Hopefully Australia can follow suit and boot Albo out of there. But yeah, that's probably going to take a little bit longer. Anyway, we started off with Shane Jones off on his trip to Toronto, a $63,000 spend, which was approved initially for 33, but then got signed off and the extra spend got approved. And old bloody Chubby Guts can't answer the simple questions being put to him. Can't remember the hotel that he was at. Whole bunch of things, but I bet he would remember the food he was eating. Anyway, now we're going to have a look at this one. There's been some headlines. I don't think Kyle is in this one from what I could tell, because I did do a little skip forward through, like dragging this along like this, and that's where I saw bits and pieces, but I don't think it's actually Kyle having a chat. So we'll see how this one goes. Help if I share my screen first, eh? Bloody hell. Share screen. Kyle Stefanovic show. There we go. Oh, hang on. There we go. Vanilla Butcher poutine. Poutine is fries covered in gravy and cheese. Canadian food. Wow. Yeah, I bet he tried that. I am sure he tried that. Anyway, let's get to playing this.
He's the Gold Logie winning staple of the Nine Network's breakfast show. Now, Kyle Stefanovic's apparent split with Nine has triggered a national debate over the limits of free speech. Hugh Remington joins us now. All this has to do with his choice of interview subject for a side project.
Well, that's free speech. That's been a blanket point of contention happening over in Australia for a while, eh? Old, what's her name? That ball bag Andrew Hastie, and his from the top. I'll be voting no or voting against it. Next minute, I did a little shorts clip on that, and he's voting for it with the Albanese government touting some rubbish that we gutted it like a fish. Rubbish, bro. I think that was the same article I was referring to when he talking about he would rather go out in a box than bend the knee to one nation. Yeah, we'll see, mate. I have no doubt you'll bend the knee, you bloody knob jockey. Anyway.
Ange, the Nine newspapers are reporting Stefanovic will leave the network. We've received no official confirmation from either Kyle Stefanovic nor the network. Nine had cleared its breakfast host to do a series of side project interviews for YouTube. He chose to give a very warm and affirming interview to the far-right British racist Tommy Robinson. Now that...
Hang on. Now, even the comment here from this journalist, so this 10 News lunchtime, I don't know what network they're a part of, but to calling this guy, Tommy Robinson, far-right, whatever, racist. Let's just go back and hear that again. From what I've seen and heard in regards to Tommy Robinson, and I could be wrong, he doesn't seem like a racist to me. He's somebody who's proud of his heritage and where he is, and the UK, and he's sick and tired of what has been happening in there as a result of largely what he's identified and seen and been trying to call out and been suppressed and cancelled for, what has largely been a lot of immigration type offences and activities. We saw the one in, was it Belfast? The Sudanese man who was looking to, the media was saying he's looking to behead the person, but a lot of eye damage, head damage to a local there in the area. Rape gangs from predominantly Pakistan or these other types of areas. But all of that stuff being suppressed because it would be viewed as being racist or whatever. Like, and here to hear, like, it's a little disappointing to hear this person introducing this. I just want to go back and hear it again, like hearing those words. Here it is. Kyle out. Today host reportedly splits with Nine Network over interview with racist. Yeah, like I could be wrong. Maybe Tommy Robinson is a flat out racist, but the stuff that I've heard from him doesn't seem like it to me. I don't see him doing the blinking Adolf Hitler, Heil Hitler, all those sorts of things. But when I've taken a little bit of time. I haven't heard this interview in full that he's done with Kyle, but I will get to it. I've got that on my list of videos that got sent through. But when I've heard him speak about other things, he doesn't sound like he's against other ethnicities or cultures or whatever. He's just against crime. And if those crimes are predominantly being done by ethnicities or immigrants from other countries who are now dominating a certain area, and he's calling that out, and then nothing's been done, even when people know that the stuff is happening, I don't know how you call him a racist. If it's a group of people, like whether it's Māori, group of Māori over here, part of this particular gang, done over this bloody thing or whatever it is. To me, I don't care if people say, "Oh, Māori here." Like if that's what we did, if that's what that group of or my people have done in that particular area, I couldn't care less. Well, I do care because it's a poor representation of our people. But what I mean is, I couldn't care less if they're adding in there this group of Māori men, this group of Māori people, Māori or Pacific Islander or whatever, these non-Māori, Chinese people. You know what I mean? It doesn't. I don't think that matters, and it doesn't make a media network or an individual racist if they're calling out the facts. This person is a Māori. This person is whatever, Tongan, Samoan, Polynesian, or Pakistan, or whatever they are. These groups of people have been banding together and committing these crimes. Like, it's no difference to saying that the vast majority of the New Zealand prison population is predominantly made up of Māori and then Pacific Islander after that. So that's not racist. That's just an unfortunate reality of our country. And yeah, this guy calling out what he's seeing, that's just my take. If he is an absolute racist and then he goes around and says, "I hate you black, Lincoln, this, that, and the other, or you brown people, and I hate anybody that's not white," I haven't heard him say that. That to me would be a racist. I hate everybody else except my particular culture. Then yeah, I'd say, okay, yep, maybe he is a racist. But I just want to hear what this commentator is saying again, because I don't agree with it anyway, with the way he's been described or introduced.
Breakfast host to do a series of side project interviews for YouTube, he chose to give a very warm and affirming interview to the far-right British racist Tommy Robinson.
To the far-right British racist Tommy Robinson. Wow. That's coming from a journalist part of this 10 News lunchtime. I think that's a poor description of Tommy Robinson, unless somebody's got all the links that they want to send to me, and or unless this media is about to show some links whereby Tommy Robinson has been a flat-out racist.
Now, that triggered emergency meetings at 9 and threats of a campaign to organise an advertiser boycott against the network. Stefanovic's multi-million-dollar contract was due to...
An advertiser boycott against the network, against Channel 9? I'm surprised people haven't boycotted it earlier, once they knew that 700 grand of hush money's been paid out. Like, there's just... I think what I like about it is that mainstream media, although extremely powerful, extremely, like, has a heck of a lot of money, they're able to get their messages out and their narratives out the way that they want, when they want, preloaded days before events happen even, and they're able to just spam it out there as often and as much as they like. They can get it across multiple platforms. I'm sure they do. But I think even though there's that aspect of it, there's a whole nother, dare I say, generation with regards to media coverage and people that are doing their own research, doing their own due diligence, doing their own investigations, and getting information and leveraging the hell out of social media, whatever platforms they're going on, and they're sharing what it is that they find. Some stuff people might find blinking, I don't want to listen to that. Just like a lot of people won't want to listen to me. They'll be like, I don't want to bloody listen to this guy yap on. But I think there's a, I don't know if you call it a shift in the power, but I think there's probably a word that comes to mind. It seems like there's probably a bit of a distribution that is enabling smaller, dare I say, smaller platforms to be able to get their messages and their things out in terms of what they want to talk about, which I think is great. Now, Kyle Stefanovic with the Kyle Stefanovic show, I just hope that blows up. Like, I hope it just gets flooded with subscribers and supporters to his channel. I think he's on around 100-something thousand subscribers. I'm one of those. Like, I don't watch all his stuff, but I watch some of his stuff, and I think he's got a very open-minded, down-to-earth approach, regardless of whoever it is that he's interviewing. So, Channel 9 doing this to somebody that's been with them, like I said, has been with them for many, many, many years, I think is really poor and weak. And as an indication, dare I say, it seems like an indication of maybe what it's been like, or what it's probably still like in the UK, trying to silence people who have a different opinion to the government of the day or to people in positions of power, which is just blinking ridiculous.
Expire at the end of the year. It looks like he's not going to make it that far, but it has triggered a fresh debate over the limits of free speech and whether people should be cancelled. Take a listen.
Kyle Stefanovic will just become bigger now because of this decision.
Well, I hope so. Who's this? Matt Canavan, Nationals leader. Kyle Stefanovic will just become bigger now. Hopefully he does, and hopefully he doesn't change. Like, hopefully Kyle stays the way he is. He seems like just a down-to-earth Aussie dude. Good sense of humor, communicates well. Obviously, that's why he's been on television for such a long period of time. And and seems like he's open to speaking with anyone. So why they would shut him down is just crazy. Honestly, I hope he blows up into the millions of subscribers and just kills it, just crushes it. Channel 9, it'd be great. It'd be interesting, I should say, not great. It'd be interesting to see what they have to say. But given the fact that those cowards didn't come out with any sort of statement after hush money was paid to a witness in the BRS defamation case, I wouldn't hold my breath for any statement coming from those clowns.
No longer can powerful forces prevent Australians from hearing different viewpoints, from having a debate. And I welcome the fact now that Carl will get a bigger audience, in my view.
I worry about...
Look at this twit. You worry about bloody all the lies you've been telling, mate, and you should be worrying about your job, but maybe he's not worried about it because there's probably some legal clauses in there that protect him. I think there's a federal election won't be held until 2028. So, bloody hell. Unless maybe, so I don't know how long Starmer was scheduled to stay in for, but unless, maybe Australia can apply enough pressure to make this bloody twat resign as well.
Polarisation. The algorithms push people to more and more extremes.
Push people to more and more extremes. You worry about polarization. How about you worry about telling the truth, cuz? How about you start there? Worry about telling the truth. Say what it is that you mean, and then do what it is that you said you were going to do. Not say one thing, get elected, and then say, well, we've changed our position. Whereas leading up to that, the whole time, we've not changed our position for the 50th time, blah, 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 blah. You're going to save this amount. Oh, by the way, that was based on the RepuTax system at that time. Your power bills are now 4 times the cost that we said that you're going to pay. And that $275 saving that we said you're going to save, well, that was the RepuTax system that was employed at the time. Just rubbish. But we are voting for these people. Not me, but a large number of people are. And then again, I think so who was it? Somebody sent through to me, I think it was one of the followers over there in Perth, messaged me and said, got to remember, I think at least 70% of the country didn't vote for these clowns for Labor. So, which is interesting, eh? Like, there must be a heck of a lot of people out there like me who just don't vote because they just think there's just so much corruption and stuff in there. How do you filter that out? And then even then, if you potentially identify or see somebody who does look like and sound like, man, they'll be the goods, it just seems like potentially they end up maybe being corrupted as well, or brought, or just, I don't know. I've not been in that space, but it's a space that I choose to not cast my vote, because I think they're just a bunch of wankers.
Now, the Prime Minister there is reflecting a view also today from the head of our chief intelligence agency, ASIO. ASIO's boss, Mike Burgess, has chided the media over pursuing what he calls clickbait journalism. He says it feeds people's anger, and that, he says, tends to fuel violence. Well, Pauline Hanson was quick to offer Carl Stefan.
Actually, that's a fair point. I think, because I have received this question a few times too, and I've usually just replied to those. I was like, nah, bro, it's fine with me. They're like, don't you get upset and angry doing a lot of reactions to stuff, especially when you especially when I disagree with stuff? Like just earlier, the Shane Jones one. Yeah, maybe, but I think because I'm expecting some rubbish anyway, that probably helps, because I'm expecting, oh no, what's this twat done? Without knowing them, I can't help but just, have a bit of a laugh about it as well. Yeah, give my take, be frustrated. I think that's normal, but I've been fortunate anyway. I don't feel like I carry that with me throughout the rest of my day, because I've got lots of other stuff that I enjoy doing, and I've got other things that just make me happy. So yeah, I can't say that I've really sat around and given that a heck of a lot of thought in regards to it potentially, like what this guy was talking about, it could potentially, or what do you say, feeding on people's anger. I get it. Some people could just spiral out of control and just go down a rabbit hole and be super negative about a whole bunch of stuff all the time. But yeah, I think everybody's different, eh? How you choose to manage what it is that you consume. I'm voluntarily consuming the stuff that I'm looking at and reacting to, so it's my choice, right? And I think everybody has their own choice to make and their own decision to make. And so whether you want to choose to enjoy what it is that you're doing and reacting to, in my case, or if you don't enjoy it and if it causes you to get pissed off and just be not a good person to be around, or whatever, if that's the right word, then maybe you should stop doing it. Or maybe you should stop looking into it. And or maybe if you want to see change, like if you really want to go all in and go hundies on it, maybe get into that space and look to make the changes that you think need to be made, rather than sitting back, looking at it, whinging, moaning, complaining, and then just letting it carry on throughout the rest of your day or week or life or whatever. Hopefully that makes sense. I personally enjoy getting the reactions and then giving my reaction to stuff that I haven't seen. Some of it I'll blurt out. Some of it I might call somebody a ball bag or a wanker or an unnice name like Chubby Cheeks or something. But yeah, and then I can just move on to the next thing.
Novak a job in her office. No word on whether he plans to take up that offer. It does mean a shake-up in Nine's television lineup. Intriguingly, Nine's share price was down more than 2% in early trade this morning. It has recovered most of that ground since, though, Ange.
Thanks, Hugh.
Oh, well, that's that for that one. Where are we? You can stop sharing that one. So, yeah, Karl Stefanovic, eh? Bloody... pretty, I'd say, disgusting in terms of how that's been handled. So, I mean, he's like, what do they call it? What's the term? He's like the poster boy. He's like the face of that media outlet. I would assume, like the amount of time that he's been there, the audience that I assume watched the show, probably by and large, probably because of him and his other co-hosts and stuff as well. But man, that's a huge feather, I think, in their cap that they have now lost as a result of being upset that he's done a interview with Tommy Robinson. Pretty crazy. Sorry, I missed some comments and stuff in here. The only ones that can boot Albo out is the Labour-appointed Governor General. or the Labour Party themselves. So I can't see that happening overnight. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, I assume there must be some sort of bloody complicated thing. And was it the Labour appointed Governor General? So no doubt, all these little strategic moves, they put in the pieces of the puzzle to feather their nest and to protect themselves is likely all part of that. Vanilla Butcher, didn't the Aussie Governor General dismiss the PM in the 70s or 80s? Maybe that's what he's talking about, the Governor General having that power. But I'm assuming if Labour, if Albo and his cronies appointed the current Governor General, then yeah, they're probably good mates and probably won't get rid of him. Yes, they did. Gough Whitlam. Nice. God save the Queen because nothing will save the Governor General. Carl Law Parks, MSM scumbags. Anyone remember Carl calling Kiwis dole bludgers on the morning show years back? Oh, no, I don't. Got to get back to the hustle. All right, bro. Yeah, head back to the hustle. Carl calling Kiwis dole bludgers on the morning show. I think I don't remember Carl saying that, but if I'm recalling some of the context of what I remember seeing whilst I was living in Australia for a while, like about 20 years worth, which was great over in Perth, I do, and I knew of people. I'll be honest, I knew of people. I'm not going to name them, but I knew of Kiwis that were going over to Australia to go on the dole because it was better than New Zealand. Like that's disappointing, and I'd be like, "What the hell, bro? Like, get a job, man. Like, if you're going to go over anywhere, get a job, do something, or do social media. Like, if you're choosing to not get a job, and you're doing something that you enjoy, cool. So I'm not on the dole. I'm not getting nothing from WINZ or MSD or anything like that. I am doing social media and choosing. I haven't gone into MSD to look to go on the dole or anything like that. So, but I know that there are people that are and that choose to do that. So if Kyle said that, what'd you say, years back? I do know of a number of Kiwis, at least years back, that openly said to me, I'm going to go over to Australia and go on the benefit over there because it's better than here in NZ. And I think that's poor. So maybe some of those words, maybe some of those stories made their way to Carl. That doesn't mean that all Kiwis are like that, So yeah, maybe he was frustrated at the time, and maybe that's what came out, or maybe that's what came to mind. He thought, oh, you know what, I'm just going to say this. Credit to him for saying what he felt. Some people may have got their feathers ruffled by that and felt, no, I'm not, because at the same time, I'm pleased to say that I knew and know far more Kiwis that go over there and just work their guts out. Like, they contribute massively to the economy and stuff there. They look to apply for and work whatever jobs that they can get, and they work bloody hard. Likewise can be said about a whole bunch of people that I met over there in the UK that were working just as hard as well. So South Africans as well. So there's, Australia is a great country, in my opinion. Lots of opportunities, awesome place. And those that were born and raised there, those that call Australia home, or those that have immigrated there and feel that that place is more home to them than where their place was, where they were from, awesome. More power to them. Do the right thing, do what you're supposed to do while you're there to the best of your ability, and make the most of it. People like me, I think Australia is a great country. The people there within it, by and large, awesome people. But it was never my home. So I was always going to come back home to New Zealand. And even though I'm rugged up here back home because the weather is ugly and cold outside, I love being home. So yeah, that's, people will go where their heart is, I think, and so they should. But in terms of their comments about dole bludgers and stuff like that, I reckon we've got plenty of dole bludgers and stuff here. Actually, I know we've got plenty of people that are raw in the system here in NZ as well. So it's not just Kiwis overseas. This is Nicholas. It's ridiculous when a journalist can't interview a person of interest. 100%. Kyle boxed Wendell Saylor. He got pummeled. He's a good sport. Oh, wow. Was that one of those celebrity boxing matches? Bloody hell. Courage of him to go and box Wendell Saylor, man. Wendell Saylor is a blinking beast. So the fact that he did that, good on him. Yeah, but I agree with that, especially that first part as well. Ridiculous when a journalist can't interview a person of interest. Yeah, anyone, eh? It's. I'd like to. I bet you, and this is just me. I bet that if he was still with Channel 9 and he was looking to do an interview with, say, a leader or a former leader of these rape gangs in the UK, Channel 9 would be all over it. They go, yeah, do that, mate. Oh, your life could be in danger, blah, blah, blah. You know, it'd be all right. It'd be good for the show. I bet they would probably allow that to happen. But he's interviewing somebody that's calling that just disgusting, disgraceful, but criminal behavior out. And the people there in the UK that were in positions of power that were supposed to protect the public were not doing anything about it. Then they want to cancel him. Like, it's just crazy. I got this celebrity fight. It was funny. Gotcha. Cheers, Nicholas. Anyway, I'm going to jump into this next video. Look at me. I'm on a roll, eh? How long has this been? And not even an hour. And I managed to get through. Well, to be fair, they've only been 3 minutes 50 or 3:49 and 2 minutes 20. But so maybe I'm not doing that well because I've been on air for 50 minutes. Anyway, I'm going to go to the third video. Police commissioner under investigation after complaint of sexual nature. This is here in NZ. Sorry, share the screen again, mate. What are you up to? Share screen. Police commissioner? That one. Okay, cool. Let's hit play on here because this is disappointing. Like, I haven't watched this video yet, but I've seen the face. Like, this is the new commissioner, and he's been involved in, obviously they've already had a big blinking corruption investigation thing done with that clown McScumbag, Jevon McSkimming, for his child pornography stuff on his laptop, and I think some other rubbish that he had on there too. And now this new commissioner is in, so this doesn't look good. Like, this new commissioner, even though I don't know him, Chambers, or something like that, looked like, it seems like a good guy to me, based on just not knowing the guy and listening to him speak. So I think he got a speeding ticket too. Got pulled over and had to pay a few $100s for a speeding ticket. He was trying to get to a police graduation, but police officer caught him, pulled him over, and he had to pay the fine, which is good. But anyway.
Haere, welcome to 3 News. An investigation is underway following complaints of a sexual nature about Police Commissioner Richard Chambers. Zane Small is with us now from Parliament. Zane, what can you tell us about these complaints?
Wow, sexual complaint against the new police commissioner. Did you say Chambers or Chalmers? Chambers, I think.
Complaints.
Sam, just in the past few hours, we've had confirmation of this investigation by the Independent Police Conduct Authority following complaints about...
Independent Police Conduct. I think that's the one that did that, put out that scathing report on the police. IPCA, Independent Police Corruption Authority. I think. Don't quote me on that, though.
Richard Chambers, the police commissioner. Now, we understand that it relates to historical sexual allegations. The Herald is reporting that it is a woman who he had a relationship with more than 20 years ago. We also understand that detectives from the National...
Hang on. It's in relation to a woman that he had a relationship with more than 20 years ago. Is this like the RS scandal with regards to war crime allegations? 20 years ago, he was in a relationship with a woman. We are now 20 years on, and this has just come up now. Like, what is going on? Unless there's evidence of this woman back when this allegedly happened. I'm going to say allegedly because he's innocent until proven guilty, right? Like, that's the media's pushing this here, so it's good that they've provided that little piece of information 20 years ago. So my take, innocent until proven guilty. Where was I? 20 years ago, unless there's evidence of her submitting reports or claims or filing a report or whatever the terminology is against this guy all those years ago for sexual assault, I assume is what this is in relation to, then that would be good. But if this is just coming up now and there's no record of anything from however long ago. Just seems, I don't know, just seems weird. 20 years ago, man. Not to, and that's not to say, oh, you can commit sexual offence 20 years ago, and if there's no report, it's okay. That's not what I mean. It's just like crazy. This guy's been in the public arena for a long time. I would assume prior to taking over as a commissioner as well, even though I might not have seen him. I've really just seen his face pop up a few times since the IPCA report that came out, and now I'm seeing him again. Oh, and the other time when he had to pay a speeding ticket. So clearly he's been around for a while. I just, why it would take 20 years to bring something up in regards to some, major wrong being done to somebody, if this is the case, if it is true. Why you sit on it for 20 years is just beyond me. I don't know.
Integrity Unit have travelled to Australia to speak with the complainant. Richard Chambers released a statement this afternoon.
Wow, so she's an Aussie. She's in Australia. I don't know if that means she's an Australian woman. Might be a Kiwi living over there. This might have happened in NZ, and then she's moved to Australia or whatever. Who knows?
Afternoon, saying he strongly rejects the claims and that he looks forward to this coming to a conclusion. But Sam, what makes this so startling is that it was only about 6 months ago when Richard Chambers was here at Parliament responding to what was a damning IPCA report that exposed a high-level police failure to handle complaints. That report came after former Deputy Commissioner Jevon McSkimming pleaded guilty in court to possessing bestiality and child sexual abuse material.
Bestiality, McScumbag, eh? What a clown. Startling. What makes this so startling? Yeah, I mean, the commissioner was there in the face of that IPCA report, which this guy's spoken about. The failings to follow through on police investigations or whatever. So be massively disappointing if that is the case with regards to Chambers, the current police commissioner here in NZ. Like, I don't know the guy. He seems to come across well. Seems like he's genuine in terms of what it is that he's wanting to do and how he's wanting police to operate and behave. I don't know how he would, I'd be keen to hear his thoughts on what he thinks of what happened to a guy that Shubs interviewed recently, C-Trax, Carlos, and the issuing of a trespass notice, which then escalated to that Lone Ranger police officer, Lincoln, pulling the guy's hair, throwing a couple of punches, and then arresting him and all that sort of stuff. I'd be interested to hear what Chambers' thoughts are in regards to that footage. I did a reaction to it, but it's not showing. Like, the video isn't there anymore. So I don't know. Anyway, I gave my take on it. It's not there now. I'll catch up with Shubs and ask him later. Hey, bro, where's that video that you put up? I did a reaction and now it's not showing. But anyway, back to this guy and what he's talking about in regards to what has basically still fairly fresh in the New Zealand memory, a bit of an overhaul with the New Zealand police.
And the subsequent report that came out revealed that a woman who McSkimming had been in a relationship had spent years attempting to expose the misconduct of McSkimming, but it took a long time for her to be.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, like I was saying, I forgot about that. I didn't realize, I forgot about it. I don't even know if I heard that part. But if that's what was in that IPCA report, that a woman had been spending years trying to out the blinking inappropriate behavior of that twat McSkimming, excuse me, then then that maybe this poor lady has been in the same situation. Maybe she's been constantly trying year after year, day after day, week after week, month after month, etc., year after year, to try to get this information out. And maybe it's only just now that it's finally been given some airtime. That's going to be crazy, man, if this comes out and if that stuff is true. So, but yeah, innocent until proven guilty, eh? It's got to go through the process. He's saying he's looking for, I haven't heard any statement from him yet. I assume there'll be a statement from him on YouTube somewhere that will probably land in my feed, no doubt, or somebody may send it to me. So it'll be interesting. I mean, to me, this guy, Chambers, has seemed like he comes across well, but I'm sure, I don't know him. I'm sure Mick Skimming probably came across well as well to other people that didn't know him. Not that I ever saw him until he was being confronted with the rubbish that he's since been charged and convicted of.
Taken seriously, and Chambers stood here in Parliament and described it as a total lack of leadership and integrity at the highest levels of police, and he expressed how he wanted there to be more integrity within the police. And since then, other officers have been investigated and charged, and just a few days ago, an officer in Auckland was charged with possessing objectionable material.
Zane,
holy heck, more police officers been convicted, charged and convicted, I think. Or is that what he said? Charged anyway, obtaining or possessing objectionable material. Well, you know what that, makes us think. What I know what that makes me think about: bloody child pornography and stuff again. Just you try to find the words. Like that's probably not probably. That is one thing that really does annoy me. Those that are in that operate in that space, that operate in the space of child exploitation, I think is what the words that they refer to over in the UK. Stuff that Tommy Robinson and stuff has been banging on about, and I say that respectfully, but trying to bring to light to people that should be doing something about it. And then there's apparently some massive report, which I've got to get to and do a reaction to, that's come out in regards to that and the failings. Probably sounds similar to almost like this IPCA report, but their version in regards to what it is that they investigated over there. And apparently there's multiple levels of, I think, members of government, members of law enforcement, and other areas where people knew about what was happening and chose to do nothing. Bloody disgraceful. Those people should be shot. I'm gonna say it. I don't care. People that operate in that space, in that child pornography, child exploitation, sex trafficking, all that sort of stuff, 100% should be shot and no longer be allowed to walk this earth. Never mind putting them in prison for life. Like that just means more money from the taxpayers. They've got to feed them at least 3 times a week and keep them in an accommodation. Like they should you don't need them. They don't need to be around. Like if you're going to put them away for life because of what they've done, why punish the community and the survivors even more with ongoing payments from their tax to support those dirtbags? That's just my take anyway. So that would be one thing that does piss me off. But yeah, again, finding ways, whoever you are, to navigate your way out of that stuff and, or not navigate your way out of it, but not get so drawn into it that you can't find a way out, I guess is what I'm saying. Because yeah, that could send you on a massive rabbit hole to try to, which may not be very good for you or for yourself mentally. Where are we? No, that's all good. Cool. All right. All right. So I've done those 3. Oh, Shane Jones, or remove you, bro. Kyle Stefanovic on that piece. I'll probably come back and do some other stuff on Kyle Stefanovic later, because there are some other clips and I've done this. But excuse me, police commissioner under investigation after complaint. So New Zealand police commissioner. Remove that one from the list as well. Close that. Not sharing the. Oh, I don't think I'm sharing the screen. Cool. What I'll do is received a couple of questions on Instagram, so I'm just going to go into IG. I won't share the screen because I won't show their the people's names or their handle. Come on, man. And let's see if I can answer these questions. So there's one here from a recent follower on Instagram. So cheers, bro, for reaching out and for following. It's got, good evening, Joe. Refreshing to see. It was refreshing how you broke down the information about RS. Then he says some kind words there. I won't worry about reading those out. It's got here, one thing I'm curious about. Was there a time you can define you were at? Is there a time you can define? I think you mean where you were at your fittest. And how did you deal with anxiety in the SAS lifestyle? Cheers. I almost said his name. Well, it probably wouldn't matter if I said his name, actually, because people wouldn't know who he is. So it says cheers, Stu. is it? Curious, was there a time that I can define where I was at my fittest? Yeah, at my fittest, I would say prior to the New Zealand selection. So what's that? 1998. when I feel like I was at my fittest. Now, there's been other times where I've been very fit as well, but that time stands out to me probably for, I'd say, for one main reason, and that was the 2.4 kilometer run that I ran. Like, my best time prior to selection was 8 minutes 15 seconds. Like, for me, that was fast, very fast for somebody that was over 100 kgs as well at the time prior to selection in NZ, and running, like, for me, that quick. I felt that was quick, but it felt good. Like, that was a red line for me. Like, I was blinking knackered at the end of that, but I've never run a 2.4 faster than that. Like, I've never run it that quick. I think the closest I've run since then, which was years after as well, was probably a sub 9, 8:47, 8:50, something like that. So that's the part there. But there's been plenty of other times where I felt very fit, fast and strong. Other times was probably when I weighed 84 kgs, and I was fortunate to do some competing in mixed martial arts whilst over there in Perth under Happy Heskey, the legendary Happy Heskey out of Mach1 Fight Club there in Scarborough in Perth, Western Australia, and the whole bunch of just the amazing people that he's had there. He's like, where's the Decapitator Kappa? That guy's blinking. Go check him out on YouTube. He's had some awesome fights, but really, really good guy. Xavier X-Man was one of Habby's fighters. I think Soa the Hulk at one time might have trained under Habby. He's had Gustavo Falsaroli, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, MMA guy. I don't think he's competing anymore these days, but he's like won a massive amount of not only jiu-jitsu tournaments, but also held his own in the cage in mixed martial arts. So been surrounded by, and a bunch of other people whose faces I can remember, but can't specifically remember their names. But yeah, so that time there, I definitely felt not as strong as what I was like around the 93 to 96 kgs where I normally kick around at, but I definitely felt fast, fit, and strong enough for my size at that time. So those are probably a couple of times. Yeah, fit before Australian selection. I still feel reasonably in good shape now, although the running has taken a hit, but slowly building that back up with little bits and pieces, which has been good, and just testing and seeing how it goes, making sure it's not pulling up too sore the next day. So that's what I'd say. At your fittest, yeah. Whether or not that is when I was actually at my fittest, like I said, I'm just basing that off that 2.4 kilometer run. Like, yeah. So fitness. How would I define fitness? I don't know that I've got a definition. I think Greg Glassman's probably come the closest to, like the CrossFit founder, has probably got the closest definition of fitness. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but something along the lines of being able to move a large load, long distance, quickly over various times and modal domains or something like that. Some whole bunch of words that he's managed to put together, which encompasses, like, in a very broad sense. So forgive me for butchering the definition that CrossFit has for fitness. But those, when I've seen that, when I've read that, not that I've looked at any CrossFit stuff for a long period of time, and I don't spend a lot of time there looking at it, although I don't mind it. Yeah, I just don't remember the exact definition that Coach Greg Glassman had for fitness, but I think it was a good one, probably applicable. So maybe if I was to apply that definition that he had back then, maybe that wasn't the time when I was the fittest, but I definitely felt very fit at that time, and I felt fit at other times, and I still feel okay today. I definitely don't feel as fit as what I was back in those times, though. Anyway, and what was the other one? And how did you deal with anxiety? Good question. I think anxiety in the regiment, I think by and large, it helped knowing that and I suppose it depends on what you mean by anxiety in relation to what specifically. So, because anxiety by itself is very broad. Like, I could have anxiety about, my wife and children, are they okay? Anxiety about leaving and going on a training trip or deploying, or, whatever, a whole bunch of things to have anxiety about, public speaking, starting a social media channel or a YouTube channel, whatever. I think there's plenty of things. So defining that is probably important for context for anybody that may be wondering or having concerns about, man, I've just got this anxiety. How do I deal with this anxiety? So narrowing that down, what's the anxiety in relation to? Is it in relation to starting a new job? Is it in relation to going on selection for the SAS? You've got here to deal with anxiety in the SAS lifestyle. Like, if I'm honest, I don't recall having a lot of anxiety being into your question in the SAS lifestyle. Like, I just thought it was awesome. No doubt there would have been times where I'm sure there was some anxiety. Like there must have been times when there was anxiety being in the job. And some of those things may have been, wondering if my family are okay. Am I capable of doing this job? Like no doubt there would have been some times where there's, just anxiety in regards to living that life or being in the job. But I just can't think of any right now. Most of my thoughts are like, it was just great to be in there. So I think as those moments of anxiety present, I assume that I would have just dealt with those things as and when they came up, and then just cracked on with the job, with the work specific to that job of being an operator within the unit. So yeah, that's my take. May not be the greatest answer, but yeah, if you've got specific points or more specific in terms of what you mean by how do I deal with anxiety in the SAS lifestyle. The lifestyle's very broad in and of itself, and people would have an idea of that. Some people may think it's very exciting. There are moments when it's exciting, and then there's moments when it's very boring and there's a lot of hurry up and wait, but that's part of the job. That's what you sign up for. So and probably the last part, if I didn't mention it, that I'd say is going into that job knowing that there is a lot of uncertainty, that's what you're signing up for. I think that helped me anyway, at least, go into that type of work having a better, what do you say? What would I say? Or I must have had something that enabled me to be able to manage those anxieties when they presented themselves, maybe better than, I don't want to say not better than most other people, but just at a level that enabled me to function well enough to serve as an operator within the unit for that period of time, So hopefully that makes sense. May not be a great answer, but it's the only answer I got for you right now. And then got another one here. So this person's got here, I've got, love to see your training. I'm 52, and the problem I have is I'm still figuring out how to train optimally for the age and recovery. I'm curious how you manage that or program that. Thanks. Still figuring out how to train optimally for the age and recovery. I'm curious how you manage that or program that. Cool question. Thanks for taking the time, bro. Send it through. I'll be honest, how do I manage that or program that? One, I haven't got in my head, how do I train optimally? And how do I manage my age as I get older and or my body? Like, obviously I manage stuff like the injury with my Achilles and stuff at the moment, and my left Achilles, and you just manage it. But I'm not, and maybe I'm misinterpreting the question, but I'm not looking to how do I train optimally? Like I don't think, for me, I'm not into a one size or a one type of training methodology to help me maintain a level of fitness, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that, I'm not just looking to lift and be strong and be lean. Like, yeah, it'd be nice to be leaner than what I am, but I actually don't care. I'm quite comfortable in my skin. I'll go to a pool or to a beach. I'll take my shirt off. If I've got a bit of a puku showing or some love handles, like, it is what it is. I don't care. I can still move. I can still, getting back to the running, like I said, I can move my body and do things if and when I need to, without getting out of breath in a short period of time, So I'm not looking to, how do I optimize my VO2 max, as an example. I'm not looking to, how do I back squat a new PR, PB, 1 rep max or deadlift or whatever. Like I enjoy doing a variety of training, and I think there's a value in just exposing yourself to a variety of things. I probably haven't done as many gymnastic-y type things these days. I used to hang off the rings and do the skin the cats and that sort of stuff, and some of the muscle ups with the rings and that sort of thing. Haven't done any of those for a long time. Handstands, handstand walking. Haven't done that for ages as well. Probably got a perfectly good driveway. I could maybe that'd be a good funny video to show. So maybe not out in this weather because it looks pretty ugly out there, or maybe it might be a funny video. Who knows? So we'll see. But anyway, where am I going with it? I think I'm not looking to try to train for anything optimally. I just know that if I move each day, morning, afternoon, or morning and evening, whatever the case may be, if I can get a couple of training sessions in, and they're not all slog sessions, they're not all super hard. Well, I'd say the vast majority are not hard. They're not super hard at all. Like, yep, my lungs get a bit of a workout. One of the sessions yesterday, I actually felt like throwing up after. I hadn't felt that feeling in quite a while. I didn't throw up after, but I did. There's lots of spitting, but I didn't feel. Sorry, I did feel like throwing up, but I didn't end up throwing up. So that was a good thing. That was a bit of a win, I thought. But I was like, oh, geez, I haven't had that feeling for a while. So yeah, by and large, just move, just do something. Can be low impact, can be high impact, can be high intensity, can be low intensity, can be middle intensity, and recovery. Like I said, I've shared this before, like in terms of optimally for the age and recovery you've got here. You can incorporate, I think, you can incorporate recovery into still doing some movement each day. Like, for example, this morning's training session was a walk. It was just over an hour walk. So some hills, some flats, some downhills. It was a bit breezy and cold. I needed to try to move. Surprisingly, I still got a bit of a sweat up, but it was more just wet from the rain and the wind and stuff than it was sweat, I think. But I got my heart rate up, needing to move, had a few layers on and all that sort of thing to try to keep warm because I knew I wasn't going to run this morning. That to me was a recovery session. Low intensity, brisk walking, trying to move without putting a whole lot of strain or pressure on any of my joints. And it didn't really tax my lungs either. So, that's where I sit on recovery, right or wrong. I just think it's important, and it's been a habit for me to, get some moving in. There have been some days where it hasn't always been twice a day. Sometimes it's just been once a day. But for the vast majority, it's typically morning and then again in the afternoon or evening. Sometimes it's more. Sometimes, just feeling particularly good, or I am doing this stuff on social media, so I can take a bit of a break and I just go and get a little bit more work in. Sometimes I do that anyway. Like when I'm watching the charts or trading and I've set my alarms, I can go and do some lifting or some pressing or some push-ups or some pull-ups or some stretching or mobility. So, and all of that I think goes towards recovery, and maintenance, and a whole bunch of things. So that's my take anyway. I'm curious how you manage that or program that. And the other part of that, like, I don't have a program. So I'm not programming anything specifically for me in terms of my day-to-day training. I have an idea of what I did yesterday and the day before that, in the morning and in the afternoon. So, yesterday morning, as an example, was a run. That same run that took me an hour to walk, a little over an hour to walk. I did that run yesterday morning. Then I did that lifting and the running up and down the driveway with the down ups. So this morning was a walk. So I just, I go by feel. Sometimes I might still do another run the next day or whatever. Sometimes it might just be with the weighted vest or with a pack. Sometimes I'll back up certain sessions. If there's a heavier session, then okay, I'll do another heavier session just because. So yeah, I don't have a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month training program laid out for what I'm doing. So yeah, apologies, bro, if that's a thing. So I reckon, you've got enough runs on the board, and you've got here, you're a former pro cricketer. Okay, so you've got the mindset, the mentality, obviously the experience and all that sort of stuff with regards to pushing yourself, training, staying disciplined, consistent, etc., etc. And you have got here and tend to get carried away training over soreness and pain. So, you know, if you've identified that in yourself, like we probably all do at some stage. Like I remember I was talking with a client, not a client, but somebody that I spent some time with who's preparing for selection. And they're a younger person, in their 20s though, but still young. And how did it come about? I was like, oh yeah, you know, they asked a question about, can you go too hard, and or do you think a person can push themselves more than what their training program maybe suggests? And I said, yeah, 100% in both cases. Like, yes, you can push yourself too hard, and yes, I believe you can push yourself harder than what a specific training program potentially presents to you. Like, I think that's true in both those cases. And then I shared an experience saying, you know, I think of the times where when I used to be able to just basically fall out of bed, get up, like rub the pikurus out of my eyes, socks and shoes on, PT kit on, and just go and start running. Like those are awesome memories, good days. I wish I could do that now. Not these days, man. I'm warming up, I'm stretching, I'm getting myself warm, then stretching, doing some mobility because I don't want to have a calf or a hamstring go twang whilst I'm out there doing a run or whatever the case might be. Or I don't want to strain or stretch or tear or pull a muscle somewhere in the upper body or somewhere in my lower body whilst lifting or whatever, you know, or injure my back bending down to pick something up. So I definitely take some time to move around. That's not programmed. That's just coming with as you're getting older and going like you've got here. You said you tend to get carried away training over soreness and pain. So, you know, we'll figure it out at one stage or another, whether you figure it out at 52 where you are now, or whether you figure it out at 62, I'm willing to guarantee you are going to figure it out, brother. So yeah, you former pro cricketer tend to get carried away training over soreness and pain, usually leading to some form of burnout you've got. So again, you're recognizing that. You're recognizing that you're getting carried away over soreness and pain. It leads to burnout to you for some times. And so that's a dangerous, well, yeah, I think it's dangerous, but I think that's something to be really mindful of, and you're mindful of it. So you're aware of that, because burnout can lead to taking 2 steps forward and ending up taking 20 steps back. Burnout can lead to sort of just, you know, losing, I don't want to use the term motivation, but potentially losing the drive to get up and move. It can become harder mentally, physically, and just the interest can go or can wane. And that's why I think incorporating some just recovery type sessions, like do a walk, do the cross trainer, do a rower, do a skier, go for a bike, do super low intensity movement for that particular period of time. If you've allocated 30 minutes a day for your training, or an hour a day, whatever time you've allocated, whether you've allocated time in the morning and in the evening or afternoon, use that time and then just do whatever movement you want to do. If you know that you feel like you're a bit sore and tired and you don't want to burn out, and you feel like, oh man, I haven't had a recovery session in a while, do a recovery session, you know. Other things that you can use, like that I like to use, sauna, spa, pool, like those things are great. So yeah, you've got more than enough experience. Appreciate your question. You've got some stuff here that you clearly have already identified. You have put in here, not much info out there for training of someone my age, wanting to stay relevant. Thanks. Okay, so I think there is some good information out there for you know, just looking on YouTube without delving right into it. But if you went into YouTube and typed in stuff, or on Google or whatever, ChatGPT, and asked for, you know, I guess training programs, if that's what you're after. I'm not sure if you're after a training program for somebody in their 50s where you are right now. I reckon you'd find heaps of stuff. But yeah, I personally don't go looking online for that, because I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. Like, you know, I'm not looking to enter any bodybuilding competitions. I'm not looking to compete in any events or anything like that. My training is just for me, so that I can hopefully be useful if a time or a moment comes whereby I might need to spring into action to do something, whether it's to help somebody, whether it's to defend myself or people that I care about, or whether it's just because I like the feeling that I get typically after training. Sometimes during training, I don't generally, some of those feelings are not that pleasant. So I can't say that I enjoy all those feelings during the moment, but I definitely reap the benefits and the rewards after. So yeah, that's my take. I don't know if that helps much, bro. Actually, bloody hell, I should reply to you here and just say, I'll reply to you after, because you've sent it through Instagram. What's this one? Oh no, I'll get to that one later. That's nothing to do with for here. And I think that is it. In terms of the questions that came through. Where are we? Frozen screen. Oh, okay. Sorry, hurry up. Wait. Love that command. Your stream has frozen for me, but can still hear you. Maybe it's the weather. Oh, yeah, maybe it is frozen screen. Sorry about that. Yeah, just sitting there smiling at the screen for me. Audio is still good though. Oh, could just swim in this weather. Yeah, could just swim in this weather. All right, eh? Maybe it is. The weather video quality is good now. Oh, okay. It's come back. Apologies for that. Yeah, I just saw that now, Vanilla Butcher. My bad. Just SS Joe said he was getting himself warmed up 1 month before I enlisted. I just did a 5-kilometer run every morning, hungover or not. It did help a lot. Yeah, there you go. Just get moving, eh? It definitely, yeah, I think the benefits, although I might not necessarily feel them in that moment, I feel like I, get them later on, whenever that is. Even if it's just mentally being able to get up and just go again, and then again, and then again, and just, consistently do that thing, or do those things that I've said that I would do, or that I've planned to try to do, is super helpful. So anyway, man, I appreciate those that have taken time to comment, engage, drop any comments, chats and stuff in here. My apologies. Last time I got asked if I could even see the chat, and that's because I'm using Riverside, so I'm not on the YouTube part. So if people have dropped in stuff on a chat or whatever, I'm not looking at that. Well, I can't see that anyway because I'm not looking at it. So apologies if that's the case. But hey, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend coming up, and we'll see how this walk and talk goes this Sunday. If the weather's ugly like this, it may end up being postponed. So I'm not sure what the weather's supposed to be, but I have got another one planned for this Sunday. There was one for Saturday, but I've got a trip to go back up to Auckland. That's not for a walk and talk. That's for something else. And then come back down and then do the walk and talk down here in Wellington on Sunday with Janaya. Big, strong Samoan lad, young fella, based here in Wellington. Check him out on Instagram. Actually, that's what I should do. I should bring up his page and share his thing while I'm here. I've put up a post and stuff about him. If anybody had questions for me about him, there he is there. Oh, he's on a rower. Give that a heart. He's doing some training there with a group of people by the looks of things. Let's close that. And let's just share the screen quickly. For those that may not know who I'm talking about. Who is this guy, Janaya, that he's talking about? This is the guy I'm talking about. Janaya Fuimaono. Health and performance. And just, yeah, a really, really good dude. Check out some of his stuff. Incredible strength athlete. And also running, into running. So, there really are no excuses for big, Māori or Pacific Islander people, or big people in general, regardless of what your ethnicity is, sitting back and saying, I can't run because I'm this and that, or it's not in my genetic makeup, or my people don't do this, don't do that. Don't limit yourself. let's not limit ourselves by what other people's thoughts or perspectives or perceptions are. And or indeed, sometimes we might have to break out of some of our upbringing limitations as well. This fella is an example of doing that. Extremely mobile on the floor too. I've spoken about it before on the jiu-jitsu mats. And it's quite a miserable experience when you're being squashed by a blinking gorilla on the mats. So and what makes it even worse is when they're only using like 10% of their actual strength. So it just makes you feel even worse. But no, he's an awesome fella. So this Sunday, it was going to be last Sunday, but he had double booked, so he got back to me. We've booked in for this Sunday. But man, looking at the weather outside there, it'll be rubbish if we try to do a walk and talk out in this weather. The audio will be crap using this little microphone. Yeah, cool, with a little dead cat on it, little windsock thing. That's not going to help. So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I would love to do them even in weather like this as well. Although in weather like this, we would start running. The cheeky bugger did say we could run along this route, and I was like, hey, this is a walk and talk. Well, it's not a run and ramble. Bloody trying to take me on a run instead. I was like, this is my interview, not yours. He just cracked up. So, but in weather like this, it would probably be better to run instead. But as far as the audio would go, it probably wouldn't be very good trying to get around with this and putting the little sock over the end to muffle some of the wind and the breeze. Not to mention the blotches that will probably go on the camera. I just noticed on this yesterday when I was doing the filming, there was a blinking blurry spot right in the middle. So when I'm running down the end of the driveway, I don't think people could see anything. But anyway, I didn't see that until it was time to edit it and then upload it, and thought, oh, well, too bad. I've put in this work. The bloody camera stopped partway through it anyway. At least it filmed 3-4 rounds, I think, of the session before the camera just stopped. And then I came over to hit stop, and the bloody thing, the power was already off. There was no light on. So anyway, that's Janaya. Hoping to catch up with him. Then we've got Cameron next week, all going well, just waiting for confirmation from him. So anyway, that's it, peeps. Where are we? Thanks for answering the instant questions. You're very welcome. Thanks for taking the time to send through. It's gonna fly and talk with this. Yeah, I reckon, eh? Imagine that. I wouldn't even be trying to hold an umbrella in this. So yeah, people might have mentioned, oh, what about if the weather's ugly? I suppose you could just use an umbrella. Not in this ugly weather. That thing, those where you're holding the umbrella and then it just blinking flips all the other way and you're trying to keep a hold of it. Or like Vanilla Butcher said, probably just end up blowing us down the bloody street like some tumbleweed. Anyway, appreciate your time. If you spent any time here, if you're still here, commented, whatever, sending questions, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll always try and give my honest take in terms of what I can or can't answer to the best of my abilities. And yeah, just appreciate the time and support that people do share and spend here on my channel. So look after yourselves. Have a great weekend. Keep tuning up. Keep staying in the fight. Put one foot in front of the other. Take one day at a time. Even if things are hard, know and trust that things can do and will get better. I can't tell you when, unfortunately, but I promise you, my experience anyway, even when things are miserable, even when I have been and other people that I know have been just in really dark, crappy, miserable, lonely places, things always get better. But I have had to and still have had to hold on to that hope that things will. And every time I've done that, the sun has always shone again. There's always been, and I've always ended up in that light at the end of a tunnel. And those better days have always been closer and have happened sooner than I thought they would. So just stick at it, man. That's all I can really say. And that being said, as always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there is a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude, and some of Te Whanganui-a-Tara's ugly, windy, rainy, I was going to say wainy, wet weather outside. From me to you. Ka kite, peeps. Have a beautiful day and weekend, eh?